pretty slow. One of the main things is probably because of the FOMC stuff that was happening, right? And I think I kind of told you guys about this in the morning during the prep. I said, things might be a little bit slow today, right? Pre-market was slow as well. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunities. We've got a very nice trade on BGLC, right, to start today. But that was really the only ticker that was running, right? Everything else was kind of dead. There was not much opportunities. So, and plus, I did tell you guys that BGLC is a Chinese name. I generally do not like holding Chinese names into open because Chinese names with news, you guys know, right? Chinese names with news, they are the ones that pretty much don't make any solid moves. Chinese names without news, that's the special one, right? So you can see that this trade over here for BGLC for me, I was really more focused onto this pre-market setup. All right, I wasn't really very interested in the market open setup. I was more interested in the pre-market setup, right? So I didn't really force too much over here on open, but let's just take a look at why I wanted to take BGLC. Now, so BGLC first had news this morning, and I think this is really one of the only ones that sort of had news today in a very, very slow market, right? So if we were to think about why, right, or rather can we go about approaching this over here? So again, as I always say, right, I'm gonna just show you guys how I would have executed this if I was around. All right, I wasn't around, but let me show you guys how I would have done this, right? So remember, when we take news pops, right? Whenever a Nuntil bot sends out news on the scanner, right? It's gonna show this. Okay, then from here, you really wouldn't know if the next candle is gonna go down, it's gonna make new lows, or is it gonna pump up and go crazy. So the first 2 to 3 candles, I would say they're mostly a gamble, right? If you want to have a proper setup, take the first 2 to 3 candles to chart your levels out. So right off the bat, when I see this news over here, the first thing I'll do is go over my daily chart and start marking out my levels, right? As you guys can see right over here, we have a pretty messy chart. It's not as clean as it is. Okay, now obviously we also want to know what is the price range we're looking at, right? So look at this over here. This is around 5 plus, 570s and 580s. If that's the case, then I will want to be marking out levels somewhere near that level, right? It doesn't make sense for me to be marking this at $4 because if I mark this at $4, then this ticker is probably done. So I want it somewhere near the $5 to $6, right? So you see, I see a strong resistance over here, right? Where price is kind of separating from each other. A very clear, definitive separation here, right? At 642. We could round it off to 645 or 640. It doesn't matter. I like to take it a little bit more to the upside because we're going up. And then we also have a small little gap over here from 870, 880 all the way to 730. Right, so these are basically the levels I'm gonna work around with, right? I can look at a few levels of backtest level over here at 530, right? This is a pretty good backtest level as well, 530. Now you guys know this, right? I'm drawing this chart over here based on what the daily chart is telling me. I do not know how this is going to reflect on the 1 minute chart. Okay, and obviously when I chart this in real time, it's not going to be that slow. I'm trying to explain to you guys my thought process, so it's a little bit slow, right? But yeah, I look at through these levels. So far it does look pretty good about what we have, so on and so forth. If that's the case, then I'm gonna start going back to my 1 minute chart. Now, if I go back to my 1 minute chart over here, right, you guys can clearly see that this is the level that the pendulum broke up from initially. This is the price action, this one over here. All right, this 530 is this one, right? So it is pretty far. Right, we do actually have a breakout, but it is very far already. So next level we're gonna looking at is 645, right? And not to forget, we also have one over here, right? The candles is just kind of rejecting that level a lot. So I would take this as 684, 685. So now that I have my levels, I'm gonna go back to the 1 minute chart again. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the 1 minute chart again. And now you guys can see that we have our levels marked out on the dailies, right? These are my daily levels over here. All right, you can see how 685 became a very nice back test after the breakout after that, right? You guys can see how it became a back test after the breakout after that. But initially speaking, it was very choppy. Okay, and it is going to be choppy because this ticker just open up. There's a lot of selling pressure over here, right? And price is just kind of, going up and down between those levels over here. So it's going to be a little bit choppy at the start, right? But then don't forget, we have 21 EMA trend line over here as well, right? Where price is holding on. So generally for me, what I would do, I would say that my first trade over here will probably be the breakout of 730, which is the start of the daily gap. Right, I know that this over here is my price. The 685 is my price point over here. That's pretty. That's a daily separation level. I think not only that, if you look at this on the 1 minute chart, you can see that there is a lot of price action separation all along this line, right? You see that? It became a very, very decent support. So what I would do is my first trade will probably be to take this entry over here, right? At around 750s. On this, I'll probably just say, hey guys, 730 breakout, stop loss under 685. Right? And then over here, you take your entries on 750s. It makes new highs to 830s. You scalp it. If you hold structure, maybe we have room to fill the gap at 880s and more. Now, price goes down over here. Now, once I've taken my profits over here, I will raise my stops to under 730 to keep it green. Because there's no guarantee that this thing is gonna hit 685 and bounce, right? There's a high chance that this thing may go down to 685 and break down. So what I want to see right now for potential re-entry is this, right? I want to see price base on this higher lows right now. You see that? Now, if I look at this zone over here, this is my pivot. All right. This is my pivot for the price. Underneath this zone, it trades under here. Above this zone, it trades above here. Okay, don't believe me. You can see what happens on open. Price is back to this zone, and then there was a nice little push again. Price is back to this zone again. Slight push before it broke down. Again, zones do not last forever, right? But you guys can see what I'm trying to say over here. Okay, so we have the zone over here right now. Price was basing on it, the 65 daily backtest level, and then we reclaim VWAP. Now, at this point, if I want to take my re-entries over here, what I would have done is take my entries on this gap reclaim again at 730s and have my stops on the 685 again. At this time, right, we have the EMAs again to ride up. Okay, take profits on the way up, of course, as always. Now we know that there is a very strong intraday resistance level over here at 808, 810. Right, so we hit over here. I'll probably go to trim some, of course, right? We have to. This is where the rejections are happening. But then if we don't break the 21 EMA trend line, structure is still fine. And then I just have to wait for it to play out to see whether we break down or we continue breaking out. And over here, we actually fill the gap, 880s. I'll start trimming more on this breakout over here. And then the rest, I'll start raising my stops up to under 730. Right, so this is generally how I would do it. Now, because I have to play a bit of catch up, right? I have to play a bit of catch up, so I don't really have the luxury, all right? I don't really have the luxury to, I would say, sorry, I didn't really have the luxury to, how do you call it? Take it like that, right? So I had to find myself another setup where I can trade, right? So you see, you miss a setup, okay, it's fine. You can always take it on the way up, but your structure different. I cannot tell you guys to take my entry at 8+ and stop loss on the 730 or 685 because the stop loss is going to be way too wide. Sure, we're not going to be testing these levels over here. If I were to tell you guys stop loss on the 730, sure, you may still make profits. But if that's the case, I can always give you guys an alert like this. I can say $8. What was my alert? I can say this, right? 815 breakout, $1 stop loss. I would never hit my stop loss, right? I could just tell you guys, oh my God, $8 breakout, $1 stop loss, boom. But that's bullshit. I mean, if you have $1 stop loss on $8 breakout, that means that you ideally got to have a $7 move to the upside to even make your position worth it. You cannot size in when you have a very big risk, because if it doesn't work out, you're going to be taking that loss over there, right? So that's why there has to be proper structure. It has to make sense to what you're looking at. All right, it has to make sense to what you're looking at. So why 815? Pretty simple, right? It's basically because of this structure over here. Okay. Now this is 820, right? But this entire spot over here has a lot of rejections. You can see that. right? A lot of rejections over here. Now, this is where I would be plotting my first breakout level. Okay, intraday breakout level over here. Let me see if there's anything on daily that I actually saw, because man, I tried a lot of stuff. I don't think there's anything on daily. Well, I would say that I probably it's because of this over here, but you know, I was kind of in a rush, so I just kind of say 815 breakout. But you know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference because this price has a lot of I would say has a lot of range, right? So 10 cents of stuff doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. But why is my stop loss in a 775, right? So generally speaking, when I tell you guys, hey, you know, if I were to take my stop loss over here, then my stop loss is going to be underneath the breakout level. But the reason why I give some range over here is because this thing is first off very wicky, a lot of wicks over here, so there is going to be some range. We cannot keep a very tight stop loss. If not, we're going to get wicked out, if that makes sense. We are going to get wicked out. We are going to get stop loss out. And one of the bad things about having a very tight stop loss is that it fucks with your emotions. All right. Having a very tight stop loss fucks with your emotions, because this ticker made a move from 4 plus to $8. If you give yourself a very tight stop loss, right? Let's say you add at 830, your stop loss is 820 something, right? Even if it just floats around here, emotionally speaking, you will feel very uneasy. And then it will come to a point where you're like, oh, I can't take this anymore. Let me close it out. And then you close it out, and then the place starts moving to yourself. Right, so we cannot keep it so tight. We have to give it in a range where the stock can actually breathe. Okay, we can't keep it so tight. It's like if I tell you guys $10 breakout stop loss in at 990, or sorry, 998, 999, a 1 cent risk on a $10 stock. I mean, you're gonna be pressured to close your position even though it's just consolidation, because you're keeping it too tight. All right, it's gonna fuck with you mentally and emotionally speaking as well. If you look at this in the 5-minute chart, we have a twist top over here. All right. So this is what I want to see the price base. Okay. And if we want to look at the level over here, this is 777. I like to mark my levels down, right? So 775. This is what I want to see the price base, which we did for new highs, because we've been making higher lows, right? That's what I want to see, right? You see right over here, we have higher lows. Okay, on this 5-minute, it was, you know, floating a little bit on the 1 minute and stuff, right? But I want to see this make higher lows. I want to see this break out, and based on the 5-minute trend, you can see 775 hold very, very nicely. And then we started the base for new highs. If we lose this level over here, so be it, right? That's where I close it off. All right, so very, very nice trade. But to me, this was a pre-market trade, and I was done with it, right? This was a pre-market trade, and I was done with it. I wasn't gonna be messing around too much over here. So that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so there's that. Let's see. So I don't like the market open setup. First off, it's because it's Chinese, it has news, so I'm not a huge fan of it. Okay, if you want to ask me how do you know this is gonna top out 946, my answer to you is I do not know. It could go to $16, it could go to $17, but this is a Chinese name with news, right? Market was a little slow as well. There's not too much running. It was only this. It was FOMC today. I mean, it's always better to not overestimate your your targets. All right, especially so when you see a large wick rejection over here followed by a sell off, you know, to kind of take a reset. All right, so now next up, very simple. I wasn't very interested in, you know, this unopened, so I decided to just wait for a little bit. Okay, and then I realized, okay, honestly, I was trying my hardest to try to find something over here. I was trying my hardest to try to find something over here to trade, right? But I didn't want to touch this. Okay, I didn't want to touch this, and even if I did, it was way too choppy for you guys. The price action was moving very quickly. Honestly, I'll tell you guys, right? I did trade this for a little bit. I took a small bit over here, but it just popped way too quickly. It's impossible to alert. So and plus, I know that this is one of those ticker that it pops up quick, but it drops quick as well. So you know, it's a little bit too choppy for you guys. So I was looking for something that has good risk to reward ratio. I was looking at OP. Now OP is a ticker that it's a form of runner, first off. Right, we have this over here where this ticker just kind of died really hard on the daily chart, and we have multiple gaps that needs to be filled, provided that we do actually base above this level. So again, mark those levels out first. Now, there was a lot of volume on this, by the way, right? It's cheap, yes, but still a decent amount of volume. And on open, this thing was curling up as well. So over here, what got me to get my position on this was because first off, we have a very nice push. Now you guys can see that the price is respecting the 200 EMA over here. You see that? The price is basing off that. Now when the price pulled back over here, and then we have this candle testing this 200 EMA, forming a wick into a very strong green candle coming in, right? I took my entries on this green candle coming up around 0.19. And my stop loss was under 0.18, this 200 EMA. So obviously I wasn't looking for much. I wanted us to kind of have this push to fill the gap. But you know, I'm thinking, right? Is there any news over here? There isn't. So, and you guys know I don't like trading pennies, but I'd rather touch this than BGLC. And you guys can see in pre-market, we also have a very strong rejection level, right? Based on where the price was basing at over here. Started forming a rejection after we break down, and this is exactly where the price rejected. So obviously we also entered inside the daily gap, but again, if we cannot break through the intraday structure, we don't really have to think about the higher time frame targets or higher time frame levels that we can hit. And so, you know, to me, this was a very, very small green trade. It wasn't anything to talk about, right? But I mean, it's still happy meal type shit, right? So I took my profit at 0.212, 0.213, and then I raised my stops up to under 200 EMA, 0.87. And once we lost that, I was done. But again, why did we lose that? Right? It's because something else started to run, right? It was XBP. So XBP over here, we can consider this as a news pop type setup, right? We can consider this as a news pop type setup. Now, I think I mentioned to you guys in the morning already here why I took this. Now, first off, this ticker had some pretty nice news, okay, where they had some acquisition, and this acquisition is expected to expand this business annual revenue to over 900 million. Now, if you do a quick check on XBP, this ticker has a market cap of 50. Okay, so it was 30 something million before this update, all right, but it was 30 something million. So if it has an annual revenue of 900 million now, obviously it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but just on the very surface level interpretation, this is pretty amazing. All right, this is pretty amazing. Float's decent as well. Okay, 10.13. Close is considered small. Right, for me, under 10 is small, but 10.13, we just give it a pass, right? It's kind of the same stuff. And the daily average is low as hell. Now, I know that BGLC is dying. I know that OP, again, if I have to trade this over OP, I'll choose this over OP because OP is a penny. This is not, right? This is also a low floater as well. So, first things first, when it halted up, what's the one thing you want to do, guys? What's the one? You always want to go to the daily chart and mark your levels out. You have a 200 EMA over here. And this is not only just a 200 EMA, but it acts as a very strong resistance level. Where price, multiple times, has a lot of difficulty breaking out. Not sure if you guys can see it, but over here, rejection, 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 multiple rejection over here. So it's a pretty strong level to, and plus, let's not forget this one over here, right? It's pretty far back, but it is what it is. You want to take it, you know, even further. You could say this, right? This over here is what level is this? 150. I mean, that's fine. Okay, but don't forget, you still have your daily 200 EMA at 145. So we could say that, hey, you know what? 150 to 145, these are big daily zones that we need to clear for this price to continue going higher, because this is where the price more than likely rejects every single day when it taps that 150. I mean, you guys can clearly see, right? There's a lot of rejections on this 150 level. All right, no single candle close over here. All right, so let's just say if I were to use 150 instead of 145, right? It's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Okay, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, right? You can see that price opened above 150. It was basing above 150 and 145, a small range. All right, and then the rest, honestly, how high it goes depends on the market. I thought we could go higher, but then again, it's FOMC, so I wasn't really too optimistic about it. But hey, we got close to 100% move over here. I cannot complain. There's no way I can complain on this over here. right? So now you see price went back down, lost the structure, but we started basing on it. Right? We started basing on it, right? And then it's kind of like the same thing as what happened to BGLC, right? Price went down, we reclaimed the structure, and we started basing on it. When we broke out from this structure over here, okay, this is where maybe we might have the potential for a EOD move, or not EOD move, but a reversal setup. So when I saw this dip, but I was waiting because this is the start of lunchtime. I'm not sure if you guys realize this is like 12:16. This is the start of lunchtime, so I don't want to force it. So I let it consolidate for a bit, and then at 12:30 it dumped. Now we start to see it base back onto this zone that we talk about, the daily zone, right? This 150 is basically where the price always rejects on the daily chart. But on the 1 minute chart, we're actually basing on it where the price goes up. So when I saw this reclaim candle over here, right? Or rather, when I saw it started to have some volume, I was taking this 150 at 159, right? And then I told you guys look for 170 and more. And then 170 to 185, and we got a nice move to 2 or something. I'm not sure if we actually hit 220. I think we did, right? But yeah, okay, unfortunately, again, it's FOMC, so we didn't really see too much. Okay, and again, remember this is my intraday stuff. Just because they hold on to this level over here doesn't mean that it's not. I mean, it could make a reversal. Yes, it could, but it's an intraday setup for me. I'm not gonna hold on too much hope into this because tomorrow is going to be what new opportunity for us, as how it is every single day. And that was it. I didn't force too much. It's pretty clear cut. BNZI. It hit 320s today, not a whole lot of volume, but 52-week load bounce decent. Bur, we're still chugging along, right? So another 100% day, guys. I think that is pretty good. All right, let's get some questions in. Yeah, no, I'm not interested in XBP. All right, the volume just doesn't justify the move. I told you. When I'm out, I'm out. Okay, if I really see strong volume, for me to only get interested in XBP, I need to see this over 185. If not, I don't like it. I need to see this over 185. If not, I do not like it. Okay. I mean, BRME is pretty sexy today. So far. Oh my god, it's a penny. What the fuck? I hate this shit here. What do you think about BMNR now? I think it needs to settle down. Okay. Honestly, to me, BMR is the type of play where if you want to hold on to this, you really got to hold on to this for a really long time. And obviously, Ethereum has to also kind of be strong, right? I probably would avoid this for now. Sort of. Okay. If you want, guys, honestly, if you want crypto exposure, I'd rather you just buy coin or just buy Ethereum itself, right? You can buy fractional amount, right? You can probably buy fractional amount if you're a broker or a Coinbase or whatever. I'd rather you do that than buy stuff like this if you want crypto exposure, right? I mean, if your reason to buy BMNR is because of Ethereum, then why not just buy Ethereum itself? If you're going to spend the $5,000 to buy BMNR, and let's say it's an investment, all right? We don't talk about trade, okay? We talk about investment. Why don't you just spend $5,000 to buy Ethereum instead? I think it's better. No, no, Joseph. So Joseph asked questions from 30 to 50 million market cap to 900 million potential for XBP. Could that be a long-term investment candidate? No. All right. Remember that all these at the end of the day, small caps, they can throw out very attractive PR names, but it doesn't mean anything. And look, revenue, right? 900 million revenue, and then minus 200 million profits. There is no difference. This is still a trash company. It's not making profits. Revenue is not profits. Please remember that, guys. Revenue is not profits. I can have the biggest amount of revenue, but I can still not be making money if my operating cost is a lot higher than that. So revenue is not profits. It's just good, right? As a headliner for people to slap off PR for day traders, but it doesn't mean anything. Okay, I'm approaching this as a day trade. I'm explaining everything on a day trader mindset. Okay, if I think this is a long-term candidate, I mean it's gonna be a lot more than just looking at revenue, right? But as a day trader mentality, you just really want to look at the PR. You have no time to do research on these companies, okay, when you want to take a trade. Do you say you'll be closing? No, I would. I'm raising my stops to under 28 cents. I mean, at 29, I'll stop under 28 cents. So 1 cent risk. If not, we go higher. But if you want to take it off right now, you can, right? Don't. If you feel like you want to take it off, please go ahead. Right? You don't have to follow exactly what I do. All right. But I'm just sharing with you guys. I'm just raising my stops to under 28 cents, and that's it. How will you be trading Figma IPO tomorrow? Again, all IPOs are a gamble. I'll probably just buy 100 shares, 50 shares for fun, and then hold on to it and see what's up. If we do get the hype that it really deserve, like CRCL, we might see some potential move during the next few days, right? Maybe a pump, so on and so forth, for some pretty nice gains. But I wouldn't go too crazy again because it is an IPO. It might just dump as well. So just keep that in mind. Right? If you ask me what are the levels of fixed and all that, my answer to you is I have no fucking clue because it just first hit the market. I have no levels, I got nothing for you. Right? Okay. Um Look at Meta. What about Meta? Oh, they have earnings, I think. Yeah, they have earnings. I did some sell puts over here. Fuck. I wanted to get this at $500, but I guess I can just take the premium instead. It's pretty good. I think I made $1,000+ on premium over here for Meta. Well, let me see. I made $1,000 on this, I think. Because I wanted to buy this at $500, but I wasn't gonna sit around and wait for it to drop to 500. So I opened a 520 put for Gen 2026. Obviously, there's still a long time expiration for this, but I got $1,000 of income on this, so it's pretty still money. I have to take it $1,000. No, I am not interested in XPP right now. I'm not interested in anything. All right. Daniel, wait, you not listen, bro. Either take your profits if you want, if not, stop loss on 28 cents. That's what I'm gonna do. You don't want to follow me, take your profits. If you want to follow me, have your stops on 28 cents. I'm not. This is my plan. I'm not sure about what your plan is, but this is my plan. No, I saw like I said, VWAP for me is a day trade inside bar setup, right? So 810 breakout was the play. I saw this at 840s. I didn't want to force it because it was FOMC, right? And then I missed the move, so I can't chase it. You may have said this, but what's your take on BGLC at this point AM? What do you mean? What do you mean at this point AM? After market? Like right now? No, I don't like it. I don't like anything now, guys. I don't like anything now. Probably VRME. Why the fuck is this even running? There's no news here. Low daily average. I think this is Chinese, if not wrong. I'm seeing. Is it not? Verify. No, it's not Chinese. Oh, it's cool. I'll watch it. No, I don't like it. Where can I learn how to draw levels and chart? So there is no inherent place for you to learn where you can draw levels. But what you can do is start drawing them. Look, the only way you're gonna get better at drawing levels is by actually drawing them and learning from mistakes, right? What's actually gonna be better, what's actually not gonna be better. right? This is literally the only way you're gonna start making uh improvements on your charting skills. Because if you do not if you don't even start drawing, right, you're not gonna get good at it. That's the truth. Okay, so if you want to start getting better at drawing your charts, right, what you can do is start drawing your charts, whatever you think it is, and then post them in trading chat over here. All right. And then in the charting chat, sorry, not trading chat, charting chat, right? And then you can tag me and ask me questions, and then I'll answer you about how it's better to draw. This is how you can improve from here. I think Mashari has been using this a lot, right? And I will give you guys some feedback on how you guys can draw it better. Some of you guys are just sharing, it's fine, but if you guys are asking questions, so be it. Yeah, you can see. This person drew it over here for me. And then I draw one over here was using the pre-market data. I don't think this person was using pre-market data over here. I'm not sure. I don't think so. This is the 1 minute chart, so it's a little different. That's a 5 minute. Yeah, drawing levels, it's I mean it's like drawing, right? You gotta it's like you really have to be used to it. And the more you draw, the more you'll be more adept at identifying patterns. But I would say a great start would be to identify one structure to constantly uh figure it out. So I think a very easy one that you can find every single day is an ascending triangle pattern like this, right? We have a flat top, we have a flat top over here, a flat top resistance, right? And then an uptrend. I think this is something you guys can find every single day. I think you can even find it today, one of those places. Let's look at SPP, XPP, if there's any over here. Uh, so, if I want to do it like that, I can say that this is a strong resistance level, right? I have an uptrend over here. I could do this too. I mean, it's not the best, but at least you can recognize the structure. You know what I mean? Or at least you can recognize the structure. Is there anything for SGD today? All right, so I mean, you see a pretty nice intraday uptrend being formed over here. Okay, we have a strong intraday resistance, or rather, look at this, right? Rejection on this, pretty good rejection level on this. I mean, this is a triangle as well, right? No, you can see it's a flat top resistance, and then you have an uptrend. If the 1 minute is a little bit too much, you go to the 5 minute. It's gonna be a lot cleaner, but you can still see this is still a triangle up here. So you can start by identifying a pattern to constantly draw, right? Not like draw like 20 different patterns altogether, right? Find one that you can constantly identify, and then once you are more comfortable with identifying it, then you can start to explore other options, other patterns. Okay, if not, I think that's pretty much it. BRME is doing some kind of crazy shit right now. What the fuck? Why? So I always want to ask myself, like, why the fuck is it moving like that? So I don't know if the answer, then I need to know. All right, if there's nothing, then I'll see you guys for tomorrow. Yeah, there's no news. It's a random low float running with a low daily average volume. That's it. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Pretty good day, another 100% day. Cheers. Oh, 8K? That's not official. That's like just falling and stuff. All right, cheers, guys.